Brett, want to go back to the 2001 season. I mean, you were a integral part of one of the most fun baseball teams of all time. Like 116 wins over 162 total games is just incredible. Is there a game you remember more than any other game in that season for a good reason?
Not really. One that stands out to me that's funny is, and it's still on Major League. It's on Major League Classics. Is the Cleveland game where they came back and beat us. I think we were winning. I didn't play that game, and I remember Lou giving me the day off. And back then it was like game of the week. I think it was Monday Night Baseball. I remember doing an interview with Johnny Miller before the game, and I said, Johnny, I'm not playing. I said, Lou's really not, and that was my personality. I said, Lou's not really taking this game very serious. If he wants to win, I should be playing. Of course, having fun with it. So game starts, and Jay Buhner's with us on the trip, and he's injured, so he's not playing. I remember Lou comes up to me before the game, and he says, son, he said, no matter what, because I had played like 50 in a row. He goes, no matter what today, I don't care if we win, lose, or draw, you were not playing. He said, don't even wear your spikes. So I kind of took that attitude, and I had my turfs on, and we're winning. So I forget the game. It was 10-1 in the sixth, and I'm definitely not playing. So me and Buhner are messing around, and all of a sudden it's 10-7, and then it's 12-8. I'm just making up numbers here. The game's getting closer. And I remember Jay looks at me and he goes, the bases are loaded. Now it's like the 8th or the 9th inning. He says, if Omar Vizquel was playing for the Indians at the time, he goes, if he hits a double right here and they clear the bases, do you know that it's a tie game? And then Lou's going to make you hit. And I look at Jay. I said, no way. As soon as he said that, boom, double down the right field line. They circle. It's a tie game. And Jay's cracking up laughing at me. I don't even think I have my jersey on. I think I have like a T-shirt and a pullover. So the inning ends, and I'm sitting at the end of the bench, and here comes Lou. And I'm peeking around the corner. I see him coming down there. I'm like, he's not going to ask me to hit. He already promised me that I'm not hitting no matter what. And I'm kind of hyped. I'm kind of leaning back in my chair on the bench, and Buhner's right here next to me, and I'm poking my head around the corner, and Buhner's laughing. And Lou gets to me. He looks around Buhner, and he sees me, and he says, son, and he throws his hands up. He goes, I'm sorry, but you've got to hit. No, I had to run up to the clubhouse and put my spikes on. I faced John Rocker, who was a teammate of mine in Atlanta 2 years previous, and ended up striking out on 4 or 5 pitches. And that's a game that I definitely remember, because that's the game I was not going to play in, but I played it. And we lost.
So I'm glad. Yeah. Well, so I'm glad you brought up that game, because I wanted to ask about it. I figured you'd pick one of the 116 games that you won first and said, oh, like this game was really fun and we really enjoyed playing.
We won so many games that year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I am curious about, I mean, about the one you lost, which you just went into detail about, because so if you want the exact numbers, you guys were up 12-0 after 3 and then 14-2 after 5. So my question is, what
Makes
was
sense.
the post-game shock like in that clubhouse where you say, not only does this team barely ever lose, but we just lost a game like that? Us? Maybe the best regular season team ever? Like, was there a lot of shock after that game?
Well, I think that team, as much as, it wasn't an arrogant team. It was a bunch of veteran guys, pros, that have been there, done that, and have a lot of experience. And at the end of the day, you chalk it up as that's baseball. And it's a crazy game, and stuff like that can happen. You're right. We won so often that year that it was a shock when we lost a game. It was like, how'd we lose that one? Let alone a blowout, and they reversed it on us. But really, it wasn't a big deal. We were leading by so many games. Of course, everybody, you get pissed when you lose, no matter how many games you win, especially one that you had in hand. But no, it was just more of a, I can't believe that happened. That was kind of the sentiment. There wasn't any anger because, like I said, we won so often that we really didn't have too many times that we were down or in a rough spot that year.
Was Lou allowed to get mad during the regular season because you guys won so much?
Was he allowed? Lou does whatever he wants. He's a beauty. One of my favorites of all time. And I remember the press coming to me early in the season and said, Brett, Lou's really changed. He's really gotten quieter and he's much more calm as he's getting a little bit older. And I laughed at him. I said, if you win every day, no wonder he's never in a bad mood. I said, if you can't smile when you come to the yard on this team, then it's impossible for you. So, no, it's not that he's lost his edge or he's not Lou anymore. It's just we win every day, so he has nothing to say. But that was a fun ride. It was like that year, it was like a magic carpet ride. It's something that, like I said, we're a veteran team. So we had been there, done that. I've been on some really good teams in Cincinnati. I was on a great team in '99 with the Atlanta Braves. And I was on some rough teams, and when I first came up, we were in last place in Seattle. 96, 97 in Cincinnati were some tough years. 2000, and I was a Padre. We came in last, I think. So I knew what it was like to be on both sides of the ledger, and so did a lot of players on that team. So we just rode it, and we realized that we're going through something really special. And just enjoy the ride because it doesn't happen too often.
How many times in your career, speaking of Lou Piniella, did you have to endure chew-outs from Lou?
When I came back the second time, 2001, I had him for 2001, 2002, 0. Lou never chewed me out. Huh? Me and him were buddies. And if Lou started to say something to me, I'd yell back at him, and then he would look at me and smile and go, all right, Boone, all right. We had a really good rapport. We were friends, and we also had a very high level of mutual respect. So he never chewed me out ever. When I was a kid, different ballgame. When he came over from the Reds, and I was there in '93, we almost had it out 2 or 3 times in his locker, or in his office. I mean, like drag out, screaming at each other, and then I looked back years later and I realized what he was doing, and he was testing me as a young player. And I got to a point where he was hard on me as a young player, and I would fight back. I was stubborn, and Lou would send me down, and then he'd call me up, and then he'd send me down, and we'd be drag out fights in his locker, not physical, but shouting matches. And we did a lot when I was a young player. But I'll tell you, I went to Cincinnati. He traded me to Cincinnati. And the first guy, when I was available to come back to Seattle, the reason I came back to Seattle was because of Lou, because he wanted me that much to come back. So, yeah. And to this day, one of my favorite, not only managers, but one of my favorite men throughout my baseball journey.